What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer Guys, back at again, and more Escape from Tarkov action. Another teaching Tarkov video, and in this one, we're going to be talking today about the best crafts for making a little bit of money, making a little bit of rubles, talking about when you can craft these, and just some of my preferred favorites. There are quite a few throughout the course of the hideout that you're going to be able to do this with. I'm going to focus primarily on the workbench. I think that's probably one of the best spots in order to really be able to pump out some rubles pretty quickly. And we'll also touch very quickly on the lavatory as well. I think that's another great location inside of the hideout that you're going to have access to pretty early, especially if you focus on some hideout upgrades. And then obviously, again, there are other things outside of that, but that's what this video is going to be focused on. And this is just a great way is for two things. If you're really struggling to make rubles, if you're newer and you're really not sure what to do, and you've been able to progress a little bit and get some hideout upgrades, these are certainly things that you can kind of manipulate the flea market on a little bit and be able to turn into profit for you. In addition to that, if you are pretty well set and working through the wipe and you're just trying to figure out how do you keep the crafts in the hideout going? How do you continue to level up your hideout management and your crafting? These are great ways where you can turn this stuff into either really usable items or into rubles, like I said. So that's baseline for the video. Hopefully quick, down, and dirty. And obviously, I should say this is up to date as of wipe 12.11. In addition, this is also very dependent on where the market state is. So as of the recording of this, we're a good bit into the wipe. Everybody's progressing probably pretty far unless you've just recently picked the game up. So this is where I would say the market will probably settle after, 6 to 8 weeks of people playing the game. These values are significantly going to change at the beginning or as the first couple of weeks of the wipe go. But as it stands right now, if you're jumping in or you're looking at just continuing to make money, or use these at this current state moving forward until the next wipe, you should be in a pretty good position. So little disclaimer up front there. But without further ado, let's jump in and let's talk some crafts. All right, as we jump in, there's a couple of things that I'm going to say up front that typically are true. Now, here's how you can go about, and I'm going to start by talking about how you can go about actually checking this and doing some quick maths, some quick maths. To figure out if these are beneficial for you. And you can do this at any point once you unlock the flea market. And actually, to a certain extent now, you can do this prior to opening the flea market if you have access to the items. And you're able to filter and sort by them. But obviously, post level 20, this is a great opportunity for you. I should say that up front that you do really need to get to level 20 in order to do this, because the things that sell on the flea are going to be really beneficial. That's really where you're going to make your money, not necessarily being able to sell these items to traders. In most instances, there are a few, and we'll touch on those that you can sell to traders and still be really successful. I will tell you up front that if you make most top tier ammos, you're probably in a pretty good position where it's going to cost you less to craft it than it is to sell that. The caveat to this is going to be the fact that your listing fee may be pretty significant depending on the ammo. I will tell you, and I have two highlighted here, AP 6.3 and BPGZH, your 7.62 variant there, are fantastic candidates for this. I have a couple of other items in here that I just want to highlight. These are probably the most craftable things that I do, specifically the Gunpowder Kite and your Gunpowder Eagle here, for two reasons. One, the nice part about what I'm going to talk through here is there's a lot of utility, especially if you're crafting gunpowders, because again, in most instances, they turn into your top tier ammos. So for instance, you need 2 green gunpowders and a blue, a kite, and 2 eagles to turn into BPGZH, which is a fantastic ammo and one that you should be running if you are running anything that runs 7.62x39. In addition to that, your kite and your eagle actually could turn into hawks, which are going to help you craft AP 6.3. So there's a lot of utility here, even if you're not looking to make money off of this. And again, just really trying to keep your hideout going and things just constantly turning over in your hideout, especially if you have the Bitcoin farm and you're going to have fuel in anyways. That's kind of a sunk cost. So a lot to cover up front. This is for those folks that are planning on running their Bitcoin farm, using their fuel anyways, because to me, that's a sunk cost. You're using it. if you're producing super water with it and running your Bitcoin farm and doing other crafts simultaneous to this, these is where those things are going to be really helpful. Now, obviously, you are spending money to get fuel, but again, you're hopefully getting that back again with your Bitcoin farm and some of the other things that you're doing. So this can be a nice top up for you. The last one I have highlighted here is HDDs to magnets. This is kind of a cheeky, small, pretty quick one. HDDs you're going to find very consistently, which is the nice part. So I want to highlight a few things where if you pull that stuff out of RAID, it's going to turn into some good stuff for you. But magnets still consistently sell really well because of a couple of the other crafts, the higher end crafts that you're going to be able to find yourself in. If you want to sell this magnet straight up, you're going to be able to sell it for 25 to 30K, and this is going to cost you 14 to 15 if you have to buy it. So that's a nice little turn on profit there for not a lot of time. So let's jump into the hideout and let's talk about how you can go about checking these things, and then I'll cover a couple that I think you should really be looking for outside the ones we've listed already. Okay, so first things first here, let's jump in, and here's how you can go about, and it's pretty simple, checking to see if the craft is going to be usable. This is a great thing to do at different points during the wipe, because again, stuff has different values. You'll also have, as you unlock traders, get access to other things, certain things you can buy from traders that are going to be much cheaper comparative to when they are on the market. So one of the big ones I highlighted already is Gunpowder Kite. And let's just go about talking about how you can determine that this is actually a good money-making venture for you. It is important to note, and for those newer players out there, anything you craft in the hideout is going to, when it's produced, is going to have a found in raid status, which means you can then take that item and sell it on the flea market. This is where this whole process works really well, because you can take things that you buy, again, from a trader, for instance, being PS ammo and these grenades, these two right next to each other, which are great. You can purchase these from traders and then turn them into flea market tradable and items, which is, again, where you're going to make the money. So the first thing I like to do is just filter by the item. I always sort by lowest price, and you can see what the item is typically selling for. Now, everybody has a different selling strategy. People try to put it somewhere here because they hope these things are going to get purchased. If you're me, I literally sell it for 250 to 500 to 1,000 rubles cheaper than the lowest prices. So just kind of keep that in mind. But that's an easy, quick way to make sure things sell, because it pushes you to the top of the list and people purchase them. So now that you know, let's say this is going to roughly give you maybe 14,000 rubles, you can go back, and all you're simply going to do is search for the item that you need to craft. The big reason that I recommend making blue gunpowders, kite gunpowders, is because you can buy an unlimited supply from Prepor of this PSGS ammo. It's 93 rubles a round, and you need 70 rounds. So you can see you're going to spend 6,500 and some change rubles in order to make this. You're going to basically double your profit even after you list that item on the flea market. So that's a really, really beneficial thing. We can go and we can just quickly check. I will pull out and quickly show you if we go ahead and add our offer. Let's call it 12,750 because it would sell. You're getting another 1,000 for the fee, and again, you're still making just about double the rubles. So really good, really good one for you to do up front, which is really nice. And again, a very quick hour and 21 minutes. The cool part about this is, if you are doing a game session, you get this started, maybe you throw your generator on just while you're playing to get some boosts. You can throw this in there. Probably by the time your game session is done, depending on how long you play, you might be able to get one or two of these. So really beneficial craft, and one, again, that you can turn into some nice little profit. And while 6,500 rubles doesn't sound like a lot that you would be making in the short term, in the long term, it certainly is going to add up. The beautiful part about a lot of these too is that you don't have to do anything for these. Even if you can log on, select your Bitcoin farm, maybe throw a couple of crafts together in the different areas of your hideout, and then log out of the game, you're going to have your generator running. So this stuff is going to be ready, wait for you to come back, and give you a nice little boost to your economy, which is fantastic. So let's talk about some quick highlight ones, but that is just the general way you can go about doing this and checking to see, again, is that craft going to be usable? Please do keep in mind that things are going to fluctuate. But it's important to note, again, that gunpowders and some of those really stable items now, especially now for crafting higher tier ammo, are always going to sell really well because people that have a lot of money and have a lot of rubles, they may want to craft the ammo because it is really expensive, but they're certainly willing to buy the items to craft it with from the flea market, which is what's making these so desirable. So let's talk about Workbench Level 1. There's a couple of things to highlight that I think are really good. First and foremost, this craft right here is available at Workbench Level 1, so you don't even have to be that far into the game to start crafting these. Again, I do recommend craft these just for yourself, even if you don't sell them, because they're going to be very beneficial as you move through your journey in Tarkov, is what I was trying to say. In addition, I talked about this magnet. This is a quick 40 minutes. This is a great one to work on your crafting skill in your hideout. And quick 40 minutes, this is going to net you some pretty good rubles as well, and is also available at level 1, which is really, really nice. I'm going to take a look here. There's a couple other things at level 1 that are good to craft, but probably not going to be the most successful when it comes to actually making you money. Again, very much dependent on when in the wipe you are. If you jump in early wipe and you're able to find a couple of good barter items and get a few things crafting, things like wires, printed circuit boards, and a few others will actually sell really, really nicely. Power cords as well, which I do, just checking. Yes, you can produce power cords as well. Those are fantastic early wipe for you to be able to produce, especially if you can find these items, and will certainly net you a lot on the flea market, because there's a lot of folks out here that are going to need a ton of these as they go to continue to upgrade their hideout. So just do keep that in mind. As we look at level 2 on the workbench, we're going to have another couple of things that are going to pop up that are also, again, going to be really beneficial for you. I talked about your Eagle gunpowders here. Great. This is a fantastic one, again, in my opinion, to craft. Here's the beautiful part about these as well, is you buy these from the traders. Now, Peacekeeper does allow you to buy these M67 hand grenades at $79 a piece. It's important to know, obviously, you're like, okay, should I buy these from these folks? I would not recommend it. What you can do is if you go to traders and you go to Mr. Peacekeeper and you type in $79, you're going to see that you're paying about 9,800 rubles per grenade. So for 2 grenades, call it maybe barely 20K. Just we can round up really easily there. 20K, and you'll be in a good position there. And then the smoke grenades are 4,500 from Mr. Purpore, 4,700. So you're at, again, 25,000 to be able to produce this Eagle gunpowder, and they're easily selling in the high 50s. So you're doubling your money. Another great craft for you. I always stock up on both M67 and the smoke grenades from Purpore when I'm getting low, and just have always continued to make this. Now, I don't typically sell these, but you, again, that's the point of this video, so you certainly can. The other beautiful part is that you can actually make BP ammo. I do believe, let me check. BP ammo is actually level 3. However, you can make AP 6.3 ammo at Workbench level 2 as well. So that is a good craft for you if you can procure yourself a couple of red gunpowders, if I can find it. I hate that this always changes. I've probably scrolled by it about 3 times now. So this is another good one. You can craft these red gunpowder for probably about the same or sometimes cheaper, depending on where they're sitting in the market. But this is going for just about $1,000 around at this point. These are about 46K, and then this ammo is just god-awfully cheap from whoever you choose to buy it from. Obviously, probably Purpore. If you don't have that unlocked, Mechanic can give it to you as well. And PSTGZH, you can literally find everywhere, pretty much across the map. So this is another great one for you to be able to craft. And then AP 6.3 is going to sell very, very quick. The downside of this one is 6 hours and 14 minutes. So this is a great one as you finish your gaming session. Grab these items, throw this in there, and end up either selling or eventually using the ammo. So that is Workbench level 2. The other big highlight, as you get into Workbench level 3, you're going to open up basically all of the top tier ammos, and it's pretty well consistent across the board that you will be able to make money if you sell those ammos. That may not be true for every single one, but it is going to be true for most. So your M61s here, 7N I would have to actually take and do some math on, because you don't get a ton of rounds here, and this takes so long. So does M61, but BP is a really good one. That's going to be really solid, and you're probably crafting these items hopefully already, so you have some. It is an 8-hour craft, but 200 rounds, great again if you're going to use it, or again you can sell this very nicely, selling 9 to 950 a round, and you'll be in a really good spot with that. So there are a couple others that I would talk about. Again, you can make the gunpowders here if you want to get those for that AP 6.3 craft. You can actually make a little bit of money on a couple of these weapons. In addition to that, you can basically craft this to turn it into that, to then turn it into this. You can do some crazy things to keep your hideout running if you want to be able to do that. I think you net like 5,000 rubles on this AK trade here if you want to do that. You also need one of these for a quest. That's important to note. But these are very cheap, and this sells for about like 20 to 21K. So you can do that as well. So those are a couple of the big highlights that I would show you, and I just really wanted to talk about some really good, simple, cheap, and effective ways with not a lot of ruble investment, or with some successful raids on your end and a couple of items that you can easily turn some things into, again, some nice money-making options for you. I strongly recommend, and it goes without saying, upgrade your hideout as you're moving through your journey. It's just going to give you a lot more options, both for questing as well as, again, being able to look at the market, check through some of these things from time to time, and be able to sell them. Even like S&B ammo. Crafting this right here, while it does take a decent amount of time, this is going to make you money, because these are selling really nicely. And again, this is about 46K. We can show you're going to get 80 rounds here, and pretty easily making your money, probably about 20K or so after your listing fee. So it's really good. Like I said, some of these things like printed circuit boards and your power cords, especially early, even your caps, are going to sell really nicely earlier in the wipe. Now, not so much, because these are like pretty cheap. You might actually be able to turn that into money depending on power supply here. Yeah, you could actually probably turn that into quite a bit of money if you wanted to go do that, because you're getting about 6,500 for this. This was about 10K. This is going to be like dirt cheap. Yeah, so you could do really nice, and it's as simple as that. Just check the prices of everything, do some quick maths, and you'll be in a good position. But that's a great way to use your workbench, especially, again, even if you only have a level 1 or level 2, there's still options here for you to be able to do that. Jumping over, the other one I wanted to focus on that I think is really important to talk about, again, especially if you were running your hideout and you were using your fuel, there's a couple that I love to craft out of this. The biggest ones are going to be both your mag cases and your grenades cases. Early on, you can definitely make some money on your 60 rounders. At this point, you really can't, because tech tape still sells really well at this point. If you find a tech tape, these magazines are very cheap. These are selling for about 18K at the moment. Early in the wipe, these are going to sell really well. So do keep your eye on that. The beautiful part about both your magazine case here and your grenades case, see if I can get them both in the frame at the same time, is that you're going to be using the fuel. So if you're questing a little bit or you're running interchange, you're going to find some blue fuel. If you're lucky, maybe some duffel bags. Same thing with your what I call the 6x fuel or your metal fuel tanks here. You can also buy these from before. You can do some trades for both of these with respective traders. You're going to use the fuel anyways, so it's great to burn that fuel out, keep and hold on to those fuel tanks, because you really are not going to be able to sell them for a whole ton. And as you progress through your journey, you're certainly going to find these. Right now, though, these are selling for about 250-ish. Or so. I don't think they trade significantly less actually to therapists. Both of these cases sell really well to therapists. So that's a great thing. You don't even typically have to list these on the flea market, although I think this is only about 140K. So you definitely want to be selling this on the flea market, but you're going to get a pretty close price for this. You can certainly get some euros out of it, but these sell, I think, for about three something. So really good craft. 4 hours for this one, 15 for here. But as you add this up, all of this stuff outstanding, again, the fuel, because hopefully, again, you're using it, is going to cost you about 130K if you were to buy it right at this moment. again, hopefully you're finding some of this, even if you're hitting jackets and some toolboxes, you're certainly going to take a few of these things out. So this can get significantly cheaper for you, and you'll be able to craft this and make a good sum of money. What I will tell you is it's really nice to be able to come back, especially, you do a gaming session, maybe start this at some point during it, close the game, come back the next day, have one of these, and you'll be able to list it on the flea market, and boom, you're 250,000 rubles. Sell this to therapists, for instance, 300 and some odd rubles for the good. It's basically like picking up almost another Bitcoin, which is really nice. And again, you're using the fuel anyways, so there's kind of some sunk costs here. This is going to be obviously a little bit more expensive because you need 5 of both the nuts and the bolts and the wrench, but still, seriously, going to be really beneficial for you in order to craft that. Again, there are a couple of things in here that you can craft that will be beneficial for you. Corrugated hose are absolutely huge early wipe. Absolutely huge. You can make an absolute ton of money crafting these, especially if you find the components. Right now, probably not so much. Kek tape, this might actually be a beneficial one. I take that back. I think Kek tape's not quite selling where you would want it to be. Actually, it's going to be close. You'd have to do the math on that one. The other nice part about Lavatory is there's some great utility items in here. So if you end up, while I wouldn't craft water filters, I don't think this is worth it. I think you're actually spending more to make the craft. There are some great utility things inside the Lavatory that you can do, which are really good. And again, beneficial for both hideout progress as well as questing. There's a lot of quest items in here that you can craft now. So that is a quick down and dirty, and hopefully this was beneficial for you. Like I said, you certainly have other craft stations that you can do some things with. MedStation has some good top tier stuff that you can make some money on. I make meds consistently to turn them into SJ6s, and then you can sell SJ6s really, really nicely. Although I don't know that the math really supports being able to do that, but this is a great kind of cyclical thing that you can do. Craft some meds, you can then craft your SJ1s there, and then turn them into your SJ6s, and you just get a nice circle revolving door going of continuous crafts in the hideout, which is going to be really beneficial for you as you get your hideout up and running. You can also make some defibs. You can make some nice money on these if you choose to go that route, especially now with power banks being pretty cheap, and the rest of this stuff, maybe outside the magnets, being pretty inexpensive as well. But hey, you can craft these for cheaper. Now you know. So certainly take a look, bounce it around. Hopefully, again, this was beneficial for you. Hopefully, gave you some good tips, some good things that you can focus on and hopefully be successful with. And like I said, there are a ton more. So if you have any specific ones that you really enjoy, that you personally have found a lot of success, drop that in the comments below. Certainly want to make this a continued improvement type thing. And I will just, again, keep saying this. Please keep in mind that where you are in the wipe, when that wipe has happened, is going to be a big dictator of what you should be crafting at that point. What you can buy from a trader, as well as, again, where you are in the wipe is going to be a big component of that. But that should hopefully be some successful ways for you on the back end, and while you're not really doing a whole lot, to be able to make some rubles as well, especially if you're struggling to get your funds up and running. More guides, more tasks, more map guides, and a whole bunch of other teaching Tarkov content on the slate for you. So if you found this one helpful, like, comment, subscribe. We do appreciate all the support on the channel. In addition, we do stream Tarkov Fridays and Saturdays, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch. Links in the description. We've got our Discord and our Twitter as well. Discord is a great place to stay up to date with the channel. We'd love for you to come by, especially if you are a newer player, ask questions, get a feel. Maybe we can run some raids as well, and just generally have a good time over there when we do stream. We do randomly stream throughout the week. No schedule for that, but Discord is a great place. We always post when we're going live, so I'd definitely recommend to give us a join over there. Other than that, we'll wrap this one up. Doc, Average Gamer guys, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next Teach Tarkov video. Peace!